This is Tales from the Gas Station, Part 1 and 2. Written by GasStationJack on the NoSleep section of Reddit. At the edge of our town, there's a shitty gas station that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you were to go inside, you'd see row after row of off-brand chips, cookies, potted meats, and pickled curiosities. Expiration dates suspiciously missing from the canned goods like they were filed off years ago in some misguided attempt to control inventory turnover. A faded, wet floor sign from way back covers a large crack in the foundation by the cooler, where layers of sticky spill-off have formed a miniature tar pit, preserving countless insect corpses and the occasional small rodent. Nobody ever complains about the aesthetic. By some providence bordering on the supernatural, the health inspector has repeatedly signed off on the business, always kindly ignoring the faint smell of some kind of mysterious chemical cocktail that is the defining characteristic of the establishment. More noticeable than the steady mechanical hum of the frozen drink machine that was installed in the 70s and never once serviced. More distracting than the random pockets of cold and warm air that seem to follow you around. And more annoying than the family of mutated raccoons that lives in the crawl space behind the grease trap. We think they're mutated anyway. At the very least, they must be inbred to the point of genetic deformity and mental retardation. The alpha, a muscular 3-foot-tall son of a bitch named Rocco, has been spotted multiple times chewing on people's tires and has been run over at least twice, but keeps coming back. That lingering smell, a sweet combination of honeysuckle, ammonia, and vomit, has never been positively identified. But the prevalent theory is that it's coming from underground, wafting up through the thin fissures in the concrete that grow and spread through each year of architectural settling. It's strongest right after rain, and pungent to the point of tear-inducing if you get too close to the storm drains, where even Rocco and his clan refuse to tread. If you were to go inside, you might also see the bathroom cowboy. He's sort of an urban legend around here, only ever appearing when you're alone and unsuspecting. What makes him truly legendary are the stories people tell after an alleged encounter. The accounts run from the gamut from pretty weird to impossibly bizarre. Like the guy last month who went for a pee but changed his mind when he saw him standing there next to the urinal, wearing a duster, bandana, boots, and chaps, handing out balloon animals. Or a couple weeks later when another customer stepped into the same bathroom to see a man wearing nothing but a cowboy hat, boxers, and boots with spurs, literally grinding an axe on an old-fashioned stone sharpening wheel. When he entered, the cowboy stopped what he was doing, looked up with a smile on the tip of the hat, and said, "Come on, man. Come on with it." If you should be lucky enough to see the cowboy that may or may not haunt the bathroom, don't worry. He's harmless and, in fact, usually quite polite. Honestly, he doesn't seem so bad, especially compared to some of the other things going on in that place. When you go inside, you might instantly get a toothache. That's a strangely common phenomenon that nobody really understands. It should go away on its own after a couple of hours. If you do go inside, you will almost definitely see me sitting behind the counter because I am the only full-time employee and I'm almost always here. You may catch me reading a book because for some reason the internet doesn't work way out here and cell phone service is dicey on good days and non-existent on most. If you need to make a call, you can leave and go up the hill a ways, preferably back towards town because the other way will take you into the woods and, well, you don't even want me to go into all the reasons that's not a good idea. Or you can pay me 25 cents a minute and use the store's landline. That arrangement was cooked up by the owners and I have to actually enforce it because they do check the phone records. I'm sorry. While you're here, don't be offended if I don't strike up a conversation because, if I'm being completely honest, I don't always know for sure if everyone who comes through those doors is real or not, and if I had to acknowledge everyone in that place that could be an actual person, I might lose my mind. And we don't need any more of that going on around here. I guess that the point I'm trying to make is this. Weird things happen to me working at the shitty gas station at the edge of town. I wish I could tell you the weirdest thing that's ever happened there, but I doubt I could ever decide. There were just too many. I've seen a total of 4 coffins inside the store on 3 different occasions. I've met at least a dozen people wandering back into town from the woods, claiming they had escaped aliens or government conspirators or the like, and that they had no money but needed to make a call, and could I please just let them use our store phone before they find them again. But rules are rules, and I'm not inclined to lose my job just because you didn't escape captivity with a little pocket change. And then of course there was Farmer Brown. Yeah, that's his real name. Who got mad at us and complained about the bulk feed we'd been ordering for him. He insisted something was wrong with the product because, as he put it, all of his animals suddenly had human faces. We settled with him by charging a significant discount on his next couple of purchases. He stopped coming in not long after, and they found what was left of his body inside a bedroom at his farmhouse that had been locked from the inside. As far as I know, they still haven't figured that one out. Anyway, I guess I can come back and tell a story or two, but first I need to get ready for work. Part 2. At the edge of our town, there's a shitty gas station that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and sometimes longer. If you were to go inside, you would probably see the tired cashier sitting behind the front desk, doing his best to mind his own business. He's real. You may also see someone else. You may also see something else. If you're curious about the reality of anyone, or anything, including yourself, inside that small ammonia-scented, flickering, fluorescent collection of off-brand junk food, dirt, 4 walls, and a roof, may I recommend that you follow the cashier's lead and mind your own business? I've been working at the gas station almost non-stop since I graduated high school, and at this point I doubt I could quit if I wanted to. Not long ago, a doctor recommended that I start keeping a journal, and after some consideration, I decided I might as well give it a shot. It's not like any of the traditional treatments are having any effect. But enough about me. Let's get back to the interesting thing, the gas station. I spent a decent portion of my shift last night trying to decide how to begin this journal. Where can I start that would make any sense at all? How do I explain the gas station to someone who hasn't experienced it? I've tried telling some of my stories before, so I know what to expect. People don't believe it. Or people don't want to believe it. I still remember the difficulty I had last year when I had to call the sheriff's station and explain to the new girl that half of a pig had broken into the store and was running amok, breaking things and screaming with the voice of an old woman. Yes, I meant half of a pig. Yes, a pig. The front half. No, this isn't a joke. I'm at the gas station. What do you mean, which gas station? Is this your first day or something? Oh, it is. In that case, can I please talk to someone else? She finally put me through to Tom. He's the deputy that drew the short straw all those years ago and ended up on official gas station duty. That was back before his hair had turned all white. He's been in enough times now that all I have to say when he picks up the line is, "It's half a pig, it won't stop screaming, and I can't catch it." And then he grunts, mutters something about being pretty frickin' weird, and then drives out to help me catch it. Tom is a good guy. I asked around, but nobody knew where the pig had come from. Farmer Brown, who was still alive at the time, came down to take a look and provide his expert opinion. According to Farmer, the pig had somehow been chopped down the middle, but miraculously none of the important organs were hit. Nothing supernatural about it, just really unusual. It's stayed at the local elementary school as kind of a mascot for the summer before a scientist and his team from somewhere up north offered the school $1,000 to let them take it. For science, I suppose. I don't mean to ramble, but my point is that it's hard to believe some of these stories if you haven't been inside the gas station at least once. And maybe you have. We're the only gas station for miles. We're close enough to some big crossroads. If you've ever been out driving in an unfamiliar part of the country and found yourself lost, it's not impossible that you could have found yourself at my doors, looking to top off your gas or ask for directions. If you have a strange memory of a weird place that somehow doesn't seem to fit, then there's a chance we have actually met. It was late into my overnight shift when I decided to start writing. I took notes about what was happening. I jotted down a few of my stranger memories, but consciously decided to leave out those stories that were so unbelievable that I won't even waste people's time with them. I call those the try and forget stories. I was writing it all down on a book of receipt paper when Carlos interrupted me. Carlos is one of the part-timers at the gas station. We have a pretty long list of part-time employees here. The owners like to hire transients, drifters, hitchhikers, passerbys, and runaways looking for work for a few days. I try not to get to know the part-timers. They come and go after a few days, or sometimes a few weeks, rarely long enough to form any kind of meaningful relationship. But then there's Carlos, who's been working here for almost a year now. He started as part of the prison work relief program, unloading trucks twice a week, and was the only one of the 12 prisoners that didn't disappear during a freak snowstorm last December, but that's none of my business. Carlos did his time, and when they released him, he came to work here, cleaning the store and unloading trucks. He comes in 6 times a day for each of his 30-minute shifts. Now that I think about it, I'm not exactly sure what he does during those shifts. The store is never clean, and trucks only come twice a week, exclusively during the daylight hours as per an arrangement following the incident. Maybe one day I'll ask Carlos what he does for the owners. All I know is that he's the closest thing to a friend that I have. When Carlos approached me at my register last night, I knew something unusual was going on. He was sweating bullets, pale, and on the verge of passing out. He kept glancing back at the man in the suit that had wandered into the store and was standing next to the frozen drink machine. He told me that he needed to talk. Now. I told him go ahead, but he refused to say anything unless I followed him to the freezer. I usually hate to leave the front of the store unwatched. We have the occasional shoplifter. Plus, there was that one time Rocco got in and made off with 2 cases of cigarettes. But Carlos seemed serious, so I made an exception for him. Once we were in the sub-freezing safety of the walk-in cooler, Carlos asked me if I'd seen the guy in the suit. I said yes, I saw him. He asked me if I knew the guy. I said yes, I'd seen the guy around town. His name was Kiefer. He was running for some kind of office, I can't remember which one, and stopped by the gas station every now and then. He drove an old black SUV that only took premium. I didn't know him much from in town, but he was definitely local. His picture was framed in my high school's trophy case for one of those sports competitions he had won years and years before I got there. We only have so many things to be proud of, I suppose. I knew of Kiefer, but we weren't exactly acquaintances. I told all this to Carlos, who shook his head and said, "No, that can't be Kiefer." I said, "Why not?" And Carlos told me, "That can't be Kiefer because Kiefer has been dead for 2 days. His body is in the trunk of my car right now." And that's when things started getting weird. It was a very strange night. Between the hand plants, Farmer Jr., and the cultist that wouldn't leave me alone, I hardly had any time to collect my thoughts. And of course, there was the Carlos situation. I promise I'll come back and tell you all about it, but first I need to grab some coffee.